It started the day I walked into my family's house with a stack of wedding invitations in my hands, excited to finally share them. They weren't anything extravagant, but every detail had been made with love. My mom barely glanced at it, her expression flat, like I'd just handed her a takeout menu. She tossed it back onto the table as if it disgusted her. My brother picked it up next, smirking while he waved it in front of his girlfriend. He cracked a laugh, mocking me. "Look, my sister's planning her grand wedding in the backyard." His girlfriend covered her mouth, pretending to feel sorry while her eyes sparkled with fake pity. My dad didn't even bother to look. "Don't expect me there. I won't make a fool of myself." I tried to speak up, but he shut me down. "That's not a wedding. That's a block party." As if on cue, my aunt walked in, curious about the commotion. My mom sneered, "We're talking about her little wedding," as though the very word irritated her. My aunt smirked knowingly. "Oh, yes. A friend of mine already mentioned it. Such a shame she's settled for so little." My brother howled with laughter. "Everyone's going to think we're broke, or worse." Deep down, I already knew they'd react like this. I wasn't expecting applause, but hearing their cruelty so plainly felt like being slapped in slow motion. Something inside me cracked, or maybe it hardened, as I gathered the crumpled invitation. Fine, I thought. They'll see what a truly horrible wedding looks like. Sleep didn't come that night. Their insults replayed in my head like a bitter song, though it wasn't just their words that hurt, it was the echo of a lifetime's worth of put-downs I'd grown up with. Alone in the dark kitchen, my mind spun through old memories. I was 19 when I first brought home a boyfriend, a kind-hearted mechanic who was working his way through college. I'll never forget my mom's frozen smile, followed later by her whisper, "Sweetheart, love doesn't pay bills at a garage. Aim higher." Years later, at 23, I told my dad I was quitting the law degree he had chosen for me. I wanted to follow my passion for graphic design. He didn't even look at me when he said, "All that money spent on your education, and you're going to waste it drawing pictures." What a disappointment. Meanwhile, every promotion my brother got at his marketing job was celebrated like a royal achievement. His new cars were paraded at family dinners. And when I finally sold my first piece to a gallery, my brother chuckled at Christmas, "Well, at least it covers rent." There are levels to everything, you know. That was the pattern. In our family, money meant value, status meant love, and appearances always outweighed happiness. This wasn't about my wedding at all, it was about me choosing a life they couldn't boast about at their dinner parties. By 3 in the morning, the weight of all those years pressed down on me. I confessed everything to my fiancé, the humiliations, the invitation, my ex-boyfriend, my father's harsh words, my brother's arrogance. "My dad said you'd ruin me," I whispered through tears. His jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. Then I added the part that hurt the most. "My sister's already told everyone they're not coming. No one's even pretending to support us." He didn't answer right away. He just held my hands, calm in a way that startled me, and said softly, "There's something I need to tell you." A chill ran down my spine. My dad doesn't just sell furniture, that's his hobby. His real business is real estate. He owns luxury resorts and hotels around the world. He always told me to keep it quiet, because people treat you differently when they know you have money. I blinked at him, stunned. "You've got to be kidding." But he shook his head. "And my mom? She's not a housewife. She's an architect with connections everywhere." He raked a hand through his hair and looked at me with fire in his eyes. "If your family wants a show, then we'll give them the biggest one of their lives." The very next day, we drove to his parents' home. They had always welcomed me warmly, but when I explained what had happened, I saw something shift in their eyes, a protective sharpness I'd never noticed before. "I can't believe they said that to you," his dad said firmly. "Anyone who disrespects the woman my son loves disrespects all of us. What will it take to shut them up?" His mom didn't even hesitate. She grabbed her iPad, fingers flying across the screen. "We'll make this the wedding of the year." She was already calling her assistant in Dubai to book a 200-foot yacht and the same photographer who shot weddings for royalty. While we were planning, my phone buzzed with a WhatsApp message from my mom. It was an article about women marrying below their status, and how they suffered for it. Her note simply said, "Something for you to think about." My mother-in-law shook her head, disgusted. Shameless. That afternoon, we combed through my family's Instagram accounts. She scribbled notes like a detective. "Your sister's addicted to labels, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all over her feed. Your mom brags about Cancun like it's Paris. And your dad? He's flaunting a 2018 BMW like it's a Lamborghini. They're insecure," my father-in-law said calmly. "People who are truly successful don't need to show off." My mother-in-law created a fake Instagram account and added a few distant cousins and some of my coworkers. If gossip spreads too fast, it looks fake. This way, it'll seep out naturally. 3 days later, my brother posted photos from a budget resort, captioned, "Enjoying the finer things in life, there are levels to everything." I showed it to my mother-in-law, and she grinned. Perfect. Now we know they're watching. For our first test, we bought a Hermes bag and a Rolex. My mother-in-law started snapping photos of me at an upscale cafe, then posted them on our private account with the caption, "Coffee dates before the preparations." By the next morning, one of my distant cousins had already messaged me, "Beautiful bag." That night, my aunt chimed in with a text dripping in false concern, "Sweetheart, I heard you've been splurging. Isn't it smarter to save for a house?" My mother-in-law nearly doubled over laughing. The gossip already made it back to them. I'd bet money they've got a WhatsApp group dedicated to dissecting your lavish lifestyle. She wasn't wrong. Later, another cousin confided that someone in the family chat had written, "They're burning money they don't have. They'll be drowning in debt before their first anniversary." The bait worked, I told my mother-in-law. She grinned. Now comes the fun part. She handed me a list of contacts on her phone. Every luxury wedding needs plenty of witnesses. Then she began making calls in rapid Arabic. Meanwhile, my father-in-law was speaking English into his phone with someone in London. My fiancé whispered translations, a royal photographer, floral arrangements from the same place the Prime Minister's daughter used, and a band that regularly performed at the Burj Al Arab. Isn't this a little over the top? I asked nervously, half smiling, half afraid. My fiancé cupped my face gently. "Love, my family has spent decades building palaces for clients who blow in one evening what your family earns in a year. This isn't too much, you deserve all of it." By the time his mother ended her last call, she was smiling. "Done. Your family wanted a real wedding? Well, they're about to see one." Later that night, I scrolled through our secret account and noticed my sister had tried to follow us from a fake profile. My mother-in-law denied it instantly. Let them rot in curiosity. When the real photos drop, they'll choke on them. Only then will they learn what misery actually feels like. When we boarded our flight to Dubai, it wasn't just a trip, it was a mission. First-class tickets, champagne offered before takeoff, nothing more needed. I shared a quick story, a glass of bubbly, the label facing the camera, my engagement ring glittering in view, an airplane emoji added. A perfect teaser. At the international airport, a chauffeur in a sharp gray suit waited with a tablet showing our names. I didn't even bother filming that. Instead, I saved the reveal for later, a photo of the hotel lobby, another of me silhouetted against the Burj Khalifa from our suite window. A short caption for close friends, "Life has a way of evening the score." We knew rumors would start flying, sooner or later, someone would twist the story. That was the point. The first day we kept simple. Shopping with my mother-in-law's designer, fitting the dress, picking up a few jewelry pieces. She uploaded behind-the-scenes shots, carefully choosing what to let certain followers see, anticipating exactly what they'd say. Day 2 was the yacht tour. A 200-foot vessel owned by my father-in-law's partner, sleek, snow-white, elegant without being tacky. I posted a nighttime skyline photo, Dubai's lights glittering against the water, captioned, "Just a modest view to start our life together." Half an hour later, my brother commented on his page, "Did you win the lottery or what? Careful with debt, little sister." I was in the middle of getting my nails done when I saw it. I didn't answer, just handed the phone to my mother-in-law. She smiled. Perfect. They've taken the bait. Not long after, my mom popped up under another picture of me and my fiancé dining out. "Honey, I hope you're being smart. Remember, love doesn't pay credit cards." We burst out laughing. They had no idea how badly they were setting themselves up. By day 3, we turned the heat up. We dropped a carousel of pre-wedding shots, professional makeup close-ups, fine couture fabrics, a dress hanging on a gold hanger in the suite. In one, I was holding champagne, my ring gleaming. In another, our hands were laced together, his Patek Philippe catching the light beside my diamond. The caption I wrote was almost surgical, "Marrying the richest man I know, in values, in heart, and yes, in everything else too. Thank you for teaching me what real worth means." Almost instantly, relatives started commenting. One wrote, "Wait, is this the same Aiden everyone thought just sold shares?" Another replied, "Dude, Google his full name." And someone did. Suddenly, links began flying. A Forbes article about Aiden as the mastermind behind luxury resorts in the Middle East. Screenshots of him donating millions through the Green Humanity Foundation in Geneva. Even his LinkedIn got passed around. All of it poured into the family group chat, screenshots, links, profile shares. And then, silence. A chat that normally buzzed with snide remarks and gossip froze solid. 15 minutes went by. Nothing. No emojis. No wow. No congrats. Just the sound of their pride collapsing in real time. Then the cleanup began. I watched my mom, my brother, even an aunt delete their earlier comments one by one, like erasing words could erase history. But there was no undoing it. Day 4 arrived, the wedding day. We held the ceremony on the yacht at sunset, just a small circle of people, his parents, a couple of family partners, a few trusted friends. Every person at our wedding was hand-picked not just because we loved them, but because they had influence, presence, and a role to play in the bigger picture. The ceremony itself was beautiful without being gaudy, white flowers everywhere, soft live music, a violinist guiding me toward the man I loved. My dress floated in the evening breeze. When we exchanged vows, there wasn't loud cheering, just quiet smiles, and intimacy that words couldn't touch. And then came the post. The one that would set everything in motion. A photo of us on the yacht deck after dusk, me in my gown, him in his suit, the two of us wrapped in warm light. The caption read, "Thank you for joining us in this new chapter." It wasn't just a wedding. It was something extraordinary, deeply personal, unforgettable. Another picture showed us with his parents. The words were simple, "Infinitely grateful to my new parents for making our dream wedding possible. Family is the people who choose to stand by you." I tagged my father-in-law, whose name alone carried weight. That's when the panic started. My dad texted me first, "What is this? Are you trying to humiliate us? Where did you get the money?" Then my mom, "Why didn't you tell us? You left us out on purpose." My sister sent a voicemail I still have saved to this day, "It's awful that you exposed us like this. Now people are asking if we're broke. Is that what you wanted?" I didn't answer. And then something ironic happened. My parents' friends, people who didn't even follow me, started commenting on the photos. "Beautiful. Didn't know your daughter married Aiden. Congratulations." One even added, "We attended the opening of one of his hotels in Qatar. Lovely people." In front of their social circle, my parents' carefully constructed masks fell apart. They could no longer play the role of being above it all. Their arrogance collapsed in real time. And then came the video. Just 40 seconds, but edited like a film. Drone footage sweeping over the yacht, petals floating in the air as I walked, champagne pouring, our kiss, the skyline at night. Every second precise, perfect. It went viral. And then, the unexpected blow. One of my dad's own friends reposted the video on Facebook with the caption, "When love and elegance meet, this is what happens. Congratulations to the family." He tagged my father. It was the ultimate humiliation. Their control slipped through their fingers, replaced by silence. Suddenly, my phone flooded with voice notes from relatives. "Honey, we should talk. Maybe we can throw a smaller celebration here." Another said, "Grandma is upset she wasn't invited. We could fix this." I just sipped tea on the hotel balcony while my mother-in-law summed it up perfectly. Revenge isn't always about destroying someone. Sometimes it's just showing them exactly what they threw away with their arrogance. She was right. The tension was thick. The truth was out. And the best part? I hadn't spoken a word. I simply showed them what was real. They buried themselves, I only turned the light on. A week after we returned from Dubai, the doorbell rang around 7 p.m. My husband went to answer. I heard their voices before I saw them, overly cheerful, syrupy sweet, a tone they'd never once used with me. "Wonderful to see you, son." It was my father, his forced warmth making my stomach twist. My husband called out, "Love, your family's here." I walked downstairs. My father smiled stiffly, my mother clutched an expensive gift bag, and my brother nervously fidgeted with his car keys. But their eyes barely landed on me. Their gazes shifted almost immediately to my husband, as if he were the only person worth acknowledging. "We brought a little something," my mother said, pulling a Chanel bag from her suitcase. She handed it over like a formality, still avoiding my eyes. My dad presented a box of Cuban cigars to my husband. "To celebrate. I knew you had greatness in you from the start." I stood there invisible. The same people who mocked and belittled me now fawned over him as though I didn't exist. My brother didn't even say hello. He just stared at my husband like he was a celebrity. "Have a seat," my husband said calmly, his voice firm. My heart pounded when he added, "But my wife will be here for everything. This conversation includes her. It's my turn to defend her." They shuffled into the living room. My mother spoke only to him, "We just wanted to get to know you better. Please forgive us if we didn't give you the welcome you deserved." My dad chuckled nervously, "Sometimes we misjudge people. Clearly, you're a man of the world." My brother jumped in eagerly, "I've got this amazing business idea, apps for luxury hotels. With your experience and my skills, we could." I sat in silence, feeling like a ghost in my own home, watching them scramble to charm him after years of dismissing me. And then my mother did the unthinkable. She pulled out my grandfather's watch. The one I had begged for since I was a teenager. Every time I asked, she said the same thing, "Your future's too uncertain." And now, without hesitation, she handed it to my husband. "We wanted you to have this. It's a family heirloom, and you've proven you know how to value important things. Something inside me snapped. I'd been denied that watch for 20 years. Told I wasn't ready, wasn't worthy. And now they were using it as a bribe. That's when my husband finally spoke. His voice was steady, but every word landed like ice. My husband leaned forward, eyes locked on my brother. Let me get this straight. Just a month ago, I was your sister's little charity project, right? My brother's face turned scarlet. That was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, my husband pressed, his voice sharp. How do you misunderstand mocking someone for enjoying the good things in life? You said it yourself, there are levels to everything. Then he turned to my father. And you? You told me I'd drag your daughter into mediocrity. That when I ruined her, she shouldn't bother coming back to you crying. My dad stammered, look, son. I'm not your son. My husband's voice was like ice, cutting the air in two. His gaze shifted to my mother. And you? You said our wedding was so embarrassing it didn't even deserve your presence. My mother sputtered. It was a misunderstanding, we were just worried about her. Worried? My husband rose slowly, towering over them. Do you know the most pathetic part of this whole thing? I haven't changed. I am the exact same man you met before. The only difference now is that you've realized my father's bank account is bigger than yours. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. The problem was never me, he said, his voice steady. The problem was that you measured your daughter's worth by the man she married. And when you thought that man had no money, you decided she was worthless too. My brother swallowed hard. My father couldn't lift his eyes from the floor. My mother twisted her hands nervously. But you'll never forgive yourselves for this, my husband went on, taking my hand in his. Because the greatest insult wasn't to me, it was to her. You told your own daughter that her love was meaningless, that her happiness was a shame, that her wedding was a disgrace. His voice turned harsh, like glass shattering. She is an extraordinary woman who loved you unconditionally, and you treated her like garbage simply because you thought she was marrying a poor man. Do you know what that says about you as people? My mother whispered, we love her. No, he cut her off. You loved her conditionally. You loved her depending on how much money her husband had. That's not love. That's convenience. He strode toward the door, pulling it open. The only family I recognize in this room is her. The watch stays here. The gifts too. And now, you leave. My dad staggered to his feet. You can't throw us out. We're her family. Family? My husband's scorn was brutal. Where was that family when she needed your support? When she cried because the people she loved most humiliated her on the most important day of her life? My brother made one last desperate attempt. We can start over. Forget all this. Just like you forgot about your sister the second it wasn't convenient for you? My husband shot back. He stood by the door, his voice cold as stone. Some wounds don't fade. Some are carried forever. One by one, they walked out. My mother tried to hug me at the last second. Honey, please. I stepped back. I'm not your honey anymore, I murmured, my voice unrecognizable even to me. That ended the day you decided my happiness was an embarrassment to you. The door shut behind them. My husband pulled me close, and I cried, not tears of grief, but relief. For the first time in years, someone had defended my worth. For the first time, someone had chosen my dignity above everything else. Do you regret it? I asked him quietly. Regret what? He looked me straight in the eyes. Marrying the most valuable woman I know? Building a family with you? Never. They lost an extraordinary daughter. I gained an extraordinary wife. There's no comparison. Later that night, while sorting through the pile of gifts they'd left behind, I found a note tucked into the purse from my mother. Please forgive us. We were wrong. I tore it up without finishing it. Some apologies come too late. Some wounds cut too deep. But strangely, I felt whole again. For the first time in years, I didn't need their validation. I didn't need their half-hearted, conditional love. I had something infinitely better, a family who chose me for who I was, not what I had. 6 months later, the fallout was still spreading. My brother was fired. His boss, who had seen the whole spectacle unfold online, told him bluntly, we don't want someone with judgment like that in this company. I only found out because a cousin slipped me the news in a message she later deleted. My parents weren't spared either. At their club's annual charity gala, they were publicly ignored, whispered about as fools who bet on the wrong horse. My aunt called to complain, her voice full of venom. I hung up after 5 minutes. We blocked my entire family on every platform. The silence that followed was peace I'd never known before. No more toxic messages. No more guilt trips. No more orchestrated drama. One afternoon, my husband burned another letter from my mother without even showing me. Protection comes first, he said. And I didn't argue. Some wounds don't need salt poured on them. I legally changed my last name to his, cutting the final formal tie to my past. The day I signed those papers, I felt lighter than ever before. It was poetic justice. My family's obsession with prestige and wealth had cost them everything: social standing, reputation, and the bond they once had with me. In the end, they were left with nothing but a poverty of the soul. The truth was never about money. Real wealth was in reclaiming my dignity. In realizing that family isn't always blood, it's the people who choose to love you without conditions. Some wounds break you, but others build you stronger. Mine was the latter. I no longer seek their approval. I'm not waiting for their regret. I'm not carrying their poison anymore. What I have now is worth more than any fortune: a life built on my own terms, surrounded by people who love me for who I truly am. And honestly, that's more valuable than every luxury wedding on this planet put together. So let me ask you, what would you have done in my place? Would you have swallowed your pride and forgiven them? Or do you think I didn't go far enough? Because even now, a part of me wonders, was I too harsh, or not nearly harsh enough?